You are here today because you were meant to hear something that did not happen by chance. There are powerful moments in life when the heart becomes quiet, slows down, and begins to fill with questions and uncertainty. Yet deep inside you, in that silent place where your real truth continues to live, you may have already felt the answer. You may have sensed it without being able to explain it clearly. This is one of those rare and meaningful moments. What you are about to receive is not simply ordinary information or a collection of empty words. It is a direct and powerful, energetic message connected to what you have been quietly asking the universe about for many days, and perhaps even for several weeks, in the hidden corners of your thoughts. Today, you are going to come closer to the exact point where your deepest inner feeling finally meets the reality you have been waiting and hoping to understand for such a long time. I know you have felt a special connection that seems to go beyond normal logic and simple explanations. If you want to discover the full truth about this person's real feelings for you, hit like right now. You have sensed a strong magnetic attraction and a deep emotional bond with a certain person that is not easy to describe with ordinary words. There may have been moments when you felt that something powerful existed between you, even when nothing obvious was being said. Sometimes, during your weakest moments, you believed that all of this might only be a temporary illusion, a desperate desire created by your heart, or a dream you created simply because you were afraid of feeling alone. But today I want to tell you one important thing with complete confidence and without hesitation. This love you have felt, this electric feeling that moves through your body whenever you think about this person, and this strange sense that you have somehow known them forever, is not something you should simply dismiss as imagination. It is not merely coincidence, and it is not just a story that you have invented for yourself. There are clear, deep, and repeated signs that have appeared throughout your experience, pointing toward a truth you may not have been brave enough to completely accept because you were afraid of being hurt. And today you are going to begin understanding why this person may truly have deep feelings for you, even if their present actions appear to tell a completely different story. Your doubts will slowly begin to lose their power when you allow yourself to notice the undeniable feelings that already exist inside your own soul. It does not matter if recently you have felt an unusual heaviness in your chest, or if this person has suddenly become quieter, colder, less available, or more distant than before. I want you to understand that this silence may be an important part of the entire message. Even though it can feel painful, confusing, and difficult to understand right now, there are moments when silence reveals what words cannot. When the universe confirms a meaningful connection between two souls, it does not always happen in the way your logical mind expects. Your inner being can sometimes sense something long before your conscious mind is able to understand or accept it. That is one reason you are still here listening. Something within you wanted confirmation that did not come from empty human promises or simple explanations, but from something that feels connected to the same level of your spirit and inner awareness. Sometimes we work so hard to explain emotions that were never meant to be solved completely by the mind. Some feelings are meant to be experienced, observed, and understood through a deeper level of awareness. What you are feeling right now is not automatically madness, and it does not mean you have lost control of yourself. It is not simply anxiety, and it is not necessarily an unhealthy attachment, even though there may have been times when you feared that it was. What you are experiencing may be part of the emotional process that happens when a connection feels much deeper than the ordinary relationships you have known before. This kind of love can challenge the limits of simple, surface-level relationships. It can make you question what you previously believed about attraction, closeness, timing, and emotional connection. You may feel as if you are witnessing the beginning of a powerful recognition between two people who seem to understand something about each other without needing to explain every detail. It can feel as though this recognition existed long before you were consciously aware of it, as if your hearts understood something before your minds had the opportunity to give it a name. There is something important that the universe wants you to carry into your heart today. Your doubts are not necessarily being created because this person does not care about you. Many of your doubts may also be connected to your own older wounds, fears, disappointments, and experiences that were never fully healed. When someone enters your life with an energy that deeply affects your balance, especially someone whose presence seems to reach places inside you that other people never touched, old pain can suddenly awaken. When you feel that someone can see beyond your surface, even without physically touching you, your inner defenses may begin reacting automatically. The heart may recognize something meaningful, while the mind becomes afraid of what that recognition could lead to. The soul may feel familiar with the connection, while the mind tries to protect you from the possibility of another disappointment. This is why something that feels beautiful can also feel frightening at the same time. Your inner self may recognize the other person almost instantly, creating the feeling that you have met someone who reflects an important part of you, or someone who has arrived at a significant point in your personal growth. Yet the mind, which has been trained by past pain to avoid danger and protect itself, begins building walls of doubt, hesitation, and denial. That is why you may have spent so many nights lying awake, asking yourself whether this love is real, whether the other person feels the same way, or whether you are simply believing in something that you cannot fully see. Comment 111 if you have been feeling a deep soul connection with someone lately and still cannot fully explain why it feels so strong. Notice what happens whenever you try to pull away. Whenever you decide that you are going to close your heart, stop thinking about the person, block the emotions, and finally forget everything, the same pattern may return again and again. Something invisible, gentle, and yet surprisingly powerful seems to pull your attention back. This force that keeps you from completely walking away may not simply be pride, emotional dependence, or stubborn hope. Sometimes the reason a connection stays present in your thoughts is because the emotions connected to it have not yet been fully understood. There may be an emotional vibration between two people that continues to feel strong even when there are no conversations, no clear explanations, and no obvious signs on the surface. You may not have chosen this feeling consciously, and that is exactly why it can seem so difficult to control. You have probably asked for a clear sign many times. You may have looked toward the sky, closed your eyes, prayed silently, or simply waited for something to happen that would finally confirm what your heart has been telling you. Even when signs appeared, you may have considered them too small or too subtle to trust completely. You may have told yourself that you were simply noticing things because you were already thinking about this person. But today, you can begin looking at those small details differently. Every little moment may carry meaning for you, especially when the same emotional pattern continues over time. That look they gave you and quickly turned away from only when it became too revealing. That message that appeared casual on the surface but somehow seemed to contain a deeper meaning. The change in your own energy whenever this person comes near you, or even when their name simply enters your thoughts. True love that grows from a deep spiritual or emotional connection does not always reveal itself first through dramatic declarations or huge romantic gestures. In many situations, especially during the beginning stages, it can appear through quiet behavior, small reactions, meaningful pauses, and deep silence. Sometimes the silence can feel heavier than the words, because there are emotions inside it that neither person is ready to say aloud. It can appear through awkward actions that seem unimportant from the outside, but may hide a strong inner feeling that has not yet found its voice. A person may look away because the eye contact feels too intense. They may become quiet because they are afraid of saying too much. They may create distance because getting closer would force them to face emotions they have been trying to control. Type yes if you want me to reveal the undeniable signs that can show whether this love is truly real. Today, life wants you to understand something important. This person may not be as uncertain about their feelings as you have imagined. The person who has been questioning everything may actually be you, and that does not mean you are weak. It does not mean there is something wrong with you. It may simply mean that this connection entered your life at a time when you were still learning how to stand firmly within yourself, and the intensity of the experience frightened you. When someone carrying the energy of a powerful emotional connection enters your world, they do not always shake your life in order to hurt you. Sometimes their presence forces you to awaken parts of yourself that had remained hidden. They can make you look inward, recognize old wounds, question old beliefs, and reconsider the limits you once placed around love and emotional closeness. This inner transformation can feel almost exactly like fear. You may wonder why your heart feels so restless when you are supposed to be happy. You may ask why thinking about this person can bring both excitement and uncertainty at the same time. But you must understand that fear does not always mean that something is wrong. Sometimes fear appears because something important is asking you to leave behind an old version of yourself. This fear may not be coming from a lack of love. It may be coming from the powerful force of what is entering your emotional world. This person may look at you from a distance with a kindness they cannot completely hide, with a natural respect, and with a softness that appears when someone's heart has already become emotionally involved, even if they have not openly admitted it. I know that at some point, perhaps even very recently, you may have convinced yourself that this person was leaving your life for good. You may have believed their silence meant they no longer cared, and their distance was proof that the feeling between you was slowly disappearing. You may have watched their behavior and tried to create an explanation that would protect your heart from disappointment. But the universe did not bring you to this moment simply to give you another incomplete story or another emotional wound. A meaningful connection does not always disappear because of temporary confusion, fear, distance, or silence. Human beings can become overwhelmed by their own thoughts. They can hesitate, retreat, become afraid, or need time to understand what they feel. What is emotionally important can sometimes remain present even during periods when nothing appears to be happening. What is meant to teach you something important can remain in your heart even during mental storms, unanswered messages, quiet periods, and moments when you begin doubting everything. So why do you feel so much inner chaos if the connection feels real to you? Why can something that feels beautiful also make you question yourself so deeply? Because real love does not always come into your life simply to keep you comfortable. Sometimes it comes to transform you. It can challenge the beliefs you have carried for years. It can force you to confront the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear of being misunderstood, and the fear of opening your heart again. It can show you where you still need to heal and where you have been protecting yourself so strongly that you no longer allow yourself to experience something genuine. The connection you feel may therefore be doing more than simply making you think about another person. It may be showing you something about yourself. It may be revealing how deeply you can feel, how strongly you desire emotional safety, and how much you have learned from the experiences that came before this one. The person may be important, but so is the version of yourself that is being awakened through the experience. You may have noticed that even when you try to focus on other things, your mind somehow returns to this person. You may become busy throughout the day, speak with other people, continue your normal responsibilities, and convince yourself that you have finally moved on. Yet one small memory, one familiar place, one song, one expression, or even one simple thought can suddenly bring the entire emotional experience back into your awareness. This does not automatically mean that you must chase this person or force a relationship to happen. It simply means that the feelings deserve to be understood instead of immediately rejected. There is a difference between blindly holding on to someone and honestly recognizing what their presence has awakened inside you. Your heart is asking you to become more aware, not to become more desperate. Perhaps this is why the signs have felt so confusing. One day there may be warmth, attention, or a meaningful look, and the next day there may be silence. One moment you may feel certain that the person cares, and the next you may wonder whether you imagined everything. These emotional changes can make the mind exhausted. But instead of judging yourself for feeling confused, begin paying attention to patterns rather than isolated moments. A single action may not tell you everything. A single message may not explain an entire relationship. A single period of silence cannot always reveal the full truth of someone's heart. What matters is the larger pattern, the repeated behavior, the emotional consistency, and the way both people respond to one another over time. Your intuition can be valuable, but it should work together with awareness, patience, and reality. There may be a reason this person has remained so strongly connected to your thoughts. There may be unfinished emotions, unspoken feelings, or questions that have never received a clear answer. And perhaps what you are being asked to do now is not to force an answer, but to become calm enough to recognize it when it appears. Your heart does not need to panic. You do not need to chase every sign. You do not need to prove your worth to someone. If a connection is genuine, your value does not depend on how quickly another person responds. You are still worthy during the silence. You are still worthy when you do not have an answer. And you are still worthy even when someone else is confused about what they feel. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is become still and observe. Let the truth reveal itself through time, through actions, and through consistency. Allow yourself to feel without allowing fear to control your decisions. Allow yourself to hope without making your entire happiness dependent on another person. And allow yourself to recognize that a deep connection can be meaningful even while you are still learning what it truly means. This is why the heaviness you have felt may not be the ending you feared. It may simply be the emotional pressure created when your heart wants clarity and your mind wants protection. You are standing between those two forces right now. One part of you wants to believe, while another part keeps asking for proof. One part wants to open the door, while another part remembers every reason it once had to keep the door closed. And perhaps this is the real message you were meant to hear today. You do not have to fight yourself anymore. You can listen to your heart while still keeping your feet firmly on the ground. You can recognize a powerful feeling without losing yourself inside it. You can accept that something matters to you without demanding that everything be decided immediately. The person you have been thinking about may have their own fears, their own history, and their own reasons for remaining silent. You cannot control their inner world, and you do not need to. What you can control is how you respond to the uncertainty. You can choose patience instead of panic, self-respect